see. See what's up. You got to clicks on YouTube. You're watching, talking, getting. That's right, coming up right away. As soon as this is done playing live for real, after the world premiere of this Catcher Upper, we are going to go live where we can talk all things Kyrie. That's right, all things Kyrie. And in order to do that, guys, you're going to call 313-825-5557. You got a lot of nodes, so you guys can hold on, listen to the show while you're actually on the phone. We're going to be live with no delay. So, yeah, call in, comment, share, click, subscribe. Let's beat up the algorithm. And let's just talk about what's going on. Whatever you got to say, let's talk that shit. Get these clicks. Look at you just saying. All right, see you right now.
The racist Kentucky student at the University of
Yo, talking shit, getting clicks. I'm your host, Mo 3 times. Yeah. You already know. That's right, it's the Me episodes of Talking Shit, Getting Clicks with your boy Mo 3 times. Yo. Mo 3 times, talking shit, getting clicks. You guys just saw it. What did you see? I'm playing myself. You saw it. The What's It Gonna Be Kyrie episode of Talking Shit, Getting Clicks with your boy Mo 3 times. It was this one. Yep. And Kyrie has been in it for a minute, and there has been waves and ebbs and flows and all this stuff. So basically got you caught up on Kyrie. He is still suspended. Last news that we have received from the NBA regarding Kyrie and his suspension for why is he suspended? It's basically they are saying that he's unfit to be associated with the team right now. Guys, he's unfit to be associated with the team right now. Maybe not a yay, because there has been backlash to the backlash over the last couple of days. And let me tell you what, when I first heard this story and I saw the interview and the press conference, I was like, man, they're going to try to go get him. They're going to try to go get the boy. But what's the big deal? What's the big deal, guys? Huh? What is that big deal? What is going on? What's going on, guys? I have no idea. What's going on. However, this is what we have, and this is where we are at. So, tell you what, bring a little bit more music back in, and I'm going to play you stuff, okay, guys? So we're live, so you're going to watch me just conduct this show. It's like conducting a train, planes, and automobiles at the same time. But we're going to do it for the YOU. All right, so this is the controversy, and this is what started the controversy. Kyrie basically linked a post in his Instagram and his Twitter feed to this right here, which is Hebrews to Negroes, Wake Up Black America by Ronald Dalton Jr. As you can see, I'm pictured right here. All right, so let me see what we can do. We got a couple of videos to play for you. Gotta find them. I have to find these videos, guys. But regard me. Stick with me. Regard me. Because we're getting there. Because we are getting there. All right, so let's do this. Who? Right. So basically, Kyrie is still suspended at the time. And the last story I read regarding Kyrie and him coming back to the Brooklyn Nets was that basically he's going to be suspended until he issues a real, quote unquote, a real apology to the people that he offended. And it is insane. But perhaps he will. Perhaps we'll see him back on the court. Or mayhaps he just decides that, hey, he's done. And there have been rumors, if you will, that Kyrie was actually going to retire. So that's insane. Guys, very insane. All right, seems like we have a caller in. Let's bring him in. Yo, talking shit, getting clicks. You are on with Mo 3 times. Hello? We're calling back. My dog in the background. His name's Django Unchained. He's magnificent. Hello? All right, but I'm gonna put you in queue real quick. I don't hear anybody. Talking shit, getting clicks. Can you hear me? All right. I'm gonna return you to queue, but this will again. Have nothing. Can't have nothing.
You stupid.
Yeah, I feel like I'm free right now. Actually,
Thank you for calling Collins Studios host.
Let me end the show first. All right, hold on, guys. I have to drop you. I'm gonna drop you, but I'm gonna bring you back on because something crazy is happening. Yeah. Right. This is my favorite part. I did all this because I want to talk to the people. I see what's going on. Guys, I'm out of control. I'm out of control for this. You're watching live. I am thoroughly embarrassed. I am so embarrassed right now. Yeah, that makes. Yeah. Oh, man. Here we go. All right, so we are in here. Let's call in. Let's get this back in here. I promise, guys, I had this set up. I had it set up, and I had tested it. And as always, you go live, and craziness happens.
Thank you for calling Collins Studios host and call screener line.
Right.
Please enter your show or meeting number and press pound.
Okay.
Enter your 6-digit PIN number.
Don't watch my PIN number.
Welcome, host. You are now in the host room and can manage your callers from the Collins Studio web interface. Audio recording is on.
That's right, guys. Live recorded show. Live recorded show. You guys want to call in? Call in. Now I can put my jammers back on. Yeah. All right, I'm just gonna have to close that window out because lay down, boy. You don't need no treats. Here we go. All right, so this is what we're gonna do. I am about to show you something from the man himself, Kyrie Irving. Please bear with me. It's easier to do recorded shows because you you don't have to see all the backgroundness to it. But I am gonna show you. All right, so Kyrie posted to his Instagram live the other day, and he had some words of wisdom to say, and I thought it was awesome. So we just got to check it out. But of course, when you go live, nothing really wants to work the way that you had it set up. So thank you guys for rolling with me. I appreciate you. Appreciate each and every one of you. But that's not what I wanted. All right, so while I have you here, let me give you the phone number again to call in. It is 313-825-5557. See that little dramatic pause I did there? 5557. That's right. 313-825-5557. And I will bring up this junk for you. And I'm gonna do it. Actually, I'm gonna remove this. That's all I wanted, guys. That's all I really, really wanted, was to hook this up for you. Let's go. Yeah, he stinks. Look at that. I got everything going for you. But let's get into it with Kyrie. And these are some words of wisdom from the brother out there. Let's hear it.
Anymore. And I'm called crazy trying to grow up in this Eurocentric society, or this society that holds white supremacy over the top of everything, which was created by them. I never created it. How can I be sane in a society that calls me crazy for trying to live a moral, just life, a principle-led life? I didn't grow up seeing color. I didn't grow up seeing, religion and culture, bro. It was taught to me. It was taught to me. I grew up in school with this stuff. I had experiences. So my generation, we still deal with it a lot, but our older generation dealt with it far more superior than we did, just because it was way out in the open. Now, it's way more guarded and silent and subtle. All these isms and all these definitions that we put out here, and let me direct it back to my point. I can wake up every single day knowing that the system is right in front of me, and I'm making money for the system. System is what I need to survive, right? But the system also created an image of the way you're supposed to be out here, and that's just not reality. That's not reality. The image that's created of who we should be, look on all these social media websites. Is everybody not trying to be the same? Is everybody not trying to be the same on all these social platforms? Is everybody not trying to be famous? Everybody not trying to be liked? Is everybody not trying? You know what I'm saying? But y'all.
I don't have any problem with that right there. But let's get into some calls. Talking shit, getting clicks. You are on with Mo 3 times.
What's going on, Mo 3 times?
What's going on?
Hey, listen, man. I got to ask you this question. You know, it's your boy, Reckless 107, Jersey boy. Got to ask you this question.
Ask me.
What was anti-Semitic? The movie was what they considered to be anti-Semitic, correct?
They consider all right. So, and you pose a great question. That's exactly one of the subjects I wanted to talk about. it seemed to me when I was, going through all social medias and news stories and everything and clicking through the internet, they said that there was a denial of the Holocaust, and they said that there was quotes attributed to Adolf Hitler and others. Now, I have watched the documentary. I have watched it. It came out in 2018. I believe I watched it in late 2018 or 2019, free on Amazon. And then after this came, I went and rewatched it again. I did not see any claims of Holocaust denial. I just didn't see it. I did see a quote from Adolf Hitler, but if you have a documentary, movie, documentary, whatever you want to say, and you're presenting it as facts and you're presenting this quote in context to your subject, well, then I don't think that's anti-Semitism. It's not anti-Semitic. It's just something that is debatable because you can debate your facts that you have against my facts that I have. So I didn't see anything really hate-filled in there. I think just the notion of seeing a title called From Hebrews to Negroes was off-putting to some, to be honest with you. I think it was a knee-jerk reaction from I'm not even going to say the entire Jewish community, but some people in the Jewish community and some people outside of the Jewish community were offended by it. But I believe it was a knee-jerk reaction. What do you think about that?
I'm glad all this is happening right now, especially with the whole Semitic, anti-Semitic, because now old videos are popping up and people are actually being informed, which is kind of like back to me. If you're trying to hide the truth, then this was not the way to do it. The more that you attack a person, the more that it shows that, hey, there's some validity to all of this. It's nothing new. It's nothing old. But the word Semitic itself has a definition. And so if a person of Kyrie's complexion, everything, how can he be anti-Semitic? He hates himself.
Right. And you know what? There's something to be said about, I got to bring Kanye into this because that was one of his tweets. Like the craziest tweet was, I am going DEFCON 3 on the Jews tomorrow, basically. And don't worry, I can't be anti-Semitic because I am Jew. Like it kind of sparked something where we were kind of like, yeah, you're crazy. Because obviously he does not express himself in words the most eloquently. But it was a start of a conversation. And then to have Kyrie come in and he found some history and some context to his own history. It's powerful. But one thing I did know is when this all went down and I was like, they're jumping all over him. The first thing I said is, he hasn't said anything at the press conference. He said he loves all walks of life, and it just seems like a reporter trying to make a story out of something that Kyrie was saying at the time. He's debating with the reporter back and forth. Like, you just want to have your IG moment or whatever, and he got it. And he got it.
Yeah, I was just, my thought is just about the reality. It's a lot of us like to have conversation on, we have certain words that attribute to automatic debate, like politics and religion do, right?
Right.
But for some reason, when it comes to the word Jew, right? First of all, the word it was Hebrews, and then in Antanach in the Bible, that's when they started calling them Jews as a nickname or Christians or whatever, right? But I was always confused about, like if the word Semitic that we're using, we're not really expounding on the definition of it. And I guess because people don't know the definition of it completely, they just automatically assume that he's saying something wrong. Blacks can post everything about blacks saying black stuff to each other all day long. They post a negative and make it entertainment for blacks. But you can't even say something, you can't even make a claim to say that, hey, I am a Jew. And they tell you that no, you had to argue about saying there was no such thing as black Jews.
Oh,
so that just sort of show you that.
Exactly. And growing up, that was an argument. There's no such thing as black Jews. That was basically law. You're absolutely, I'm sorry to interrupt, but keep on going.
No, you're good. But that's
I'm letting the children sing. I'm letting the children sing.
If we just take a little time to stop and move, and let our brains move for what we automatically think, and just start to go back to cognitive thinking and objective thought, if we paid attention, the word Semitic basically means black. And with black, let's just say black falls into the category as far as complexion and color and what it gives. So if there's a group of people who don't fit the characteristics of it, yet they say that they are it, but then tell us that we can't be it. That's what I don't understand. I'm lost there. How can a group of people tell you you're not a part of something when it clearly says that in order to be this, you first have to be this?
Right. You're in the area. I don't even want to go there, but yeah, you're absolutely right. You're in an area of the world where your physical characteristics do not match the natural environment. Could we say that's fair?
Of which you claim to be. No, of which you claim you are. So if I called you a nigger, for instance, a nigger is a certain complexion and acts this way and acts this way. If a Semitic is the same damn definition, why don't they fit the same person?
I don't have the same definition for Semitic as you do.
I can't pull my dictionary up right now to read it for you.
But
I'm gonna see if I can pull it up so I can read the definition of Semitic.
I'll pull it up for you right now. But when I originally searched for the Semitic meaning, it's not about a race thing. It's not about a religion thing. It's more of a language thing. That's academic. You know what I mean? So it says relating to or denoting a family of languages that include Hebrew, Arabic, and Aramaic, and in certain ancient languages such as Phoenician and Akkadian, constituting the main subgroup of the Afro-Asiatic family. Big Daddy Kane, Asiatic black man. I'm just doing word associations.
I had an argument. Remember having an argument one time when I was in Vermont, where I had this with a white kid. We was having a conversation, and he argued with me that Egypt was not a part of Africa. And so I had to break down even what Africa was and Asia and how they were even named to be named them. But then he was telling me that no, Egypt is not in Africa. So I pulled out the book and I showed him. But until I showed him, and when I showed him, I seen the disbelief in his eyes because of what he had always been taught.
And when he
so
saw
the word Semitic has never been taught to the people. So if a group of people are saying that they are Semitic, and we are Semitic too, how can they tell us that we're not them, and then tell us when we speak on it we're wrong in front of the world? Like we can't read.
Well,
anti means that we're against.
The reason why they could get away with it is because they've literally been getting away with it. They've been getting away with it.
That's my point, right? You're doing what you're doing, cool, but in front of the world, that's what I liked about what Kanye said. I gotta do DEFCON 3. I gotta get into a defense to fight these people, but it's crazy. I'm fighting people that claim to be what I am. I'm fully. I have to get in defense to fight my so-called own people. We claim the same banner, but you're telling me I can't be a part of this banner, and it's my banner. And when we get caught up in the rhetoric and the stupid things that these guys are saying, but clearly they have to say something dumb in order to get their true message out. They're really saying, black man, wake up, but I can say something. I have to say something crazy next because that's what's going to make it seem like I really don't know what's going on. I'm ignorant. These dudes are not making it to where they're at and don't have common sense. I
agree with that.
I've learned.
There's no way you can make it.
It's more of a place to it to me.
There's no dummy billionaires.
It's more of a place.
I
just wanted to call in and say that, man. Thanks for letting me call in.
Everybody give it up. Vlago. It's interesting what he said. And it's interesting that we were able to bring up the definitions because then I can expound on the Hebrews to Negroes documentary that I saw. Now, I didn't read the book, so I can't say there was nothing that was, denying the Holocaust in there, but I believe the book would have the movie would have went off the book. And those are two big key points when you're talking about people. So I would say that that's not even in the book. I don't even think anybody read the book. Hell, let me tell you what, it's a 3-hour documentary. Once you've watched Hidden Colors and a couple of documentaries, to me personally, no disrespect, they kind of all start bleeding into themselves. It's like, oh, I can't tell one from the other. But I didn't see any information in that movie. And I think a lot of people were like, oh, this is interesting. Let's go watch it to see, hell, is there anything to this? And a lot of people found no. And then when you hear Vlago come on and speak on the subject, like, he's right. There was a time not that long ago where it was just everybody knows there's no such thing as black Jews. And then here we go. You guys saw Hidden Gems. You seen where he got that that rock for Kevin Garnett. You saw that. You saw that. So then, you know, once you get to that point, then, I mean, they really had to press the issue. But it seems that Kyrie is still suspended, right? First and foremost, he's not in the league making his money, doing what, you know, something that he loves to do anymore. That was kind of taken away from him. But also, and I'm losing my train of thought here. Right. Okay. So basically, all right, we didn't, the things that they claimed were there was a denial of Holocaust, didn't see. The Adolf Hitler quote, yes, you got to be careful when you're doing that, but we're talking about a documentary here. It wasn't like somebody, he just went on Instagram posting quotes of Adolf Hitler. He actually just posted the link to the movie, didn't say anything else about it, just left that out there for you and I to explore and make our minds up again. Out against it. Now, in the original post-game interview with Kyrie, the only thing I saw wrong with his argument was that he kind of argued the point of promoting the movie. Sir, you got over 1 million followers on Instagram. You got millions of followers on Instagram and millions of fans. Anything that you put on social media is definitely going to be a promotion. It doesn't matter. Kyrie, you are so big in the game, sir. You have that Oprah Winfrey effect where if Oprah mentions your book, that shit's going to number one. And I think that is something that upset the people. But at the same time, there was really no argument because there was nothing anti-Semitic. And for you to actually sit there, stand up for yourself, I have to applaud that. I have to applaud it because, honestly, my belief is that, like, there should be no conversations that are off the table. It didn't seem like Kyrie was coming from a place of where he was accusing or trying to point fingers at somebody or trying to destroy or damage or trying to hurt anybody. It seemed to me like he came from a point of curiosity. He's learning about himself. He's learning about his history, and it seemed like he's excited to share that information with the world. But hell, you know, this is my show. I talk so much. Let's bring another caller in there. Let me tell you guys, and we're not even screening callers. So if you call up here and troll, it's just we're going to have a moment. Yo, you on Talking Shit, Getting Clicks, Me episodes with your boy Mo 3 times. What's up? Who are we talking with? Hello? Hello.
This is from me.
I'm sorry?
How you doing? I just, if this is me, I just want to say I watched the movie, the documentary, and I'm going to make it short. First of all, after watching the documentary, I still made no connection with Kanye West. Only thing I can say about the movie, if it's against the movie, I said the thing that I caught what they were trying to say that made the movie anti-Semitic was the fact that when it describes the 12 Jews, the 12 Israelite tribes, out of the 12 Israelite tribes, it showed no connection with the Caucasian Jews. They call themselves Jews today. So to me, that's what I guess they found derogatory and anti-Semitic. That's what I caught out, because as far as anything saying anything against so-called Jews, then I didn't see anything that reached out to that point that they're making about the documentary compared to Kyle and Kanye West. That's all I want to say.
You know what? Give it up. Give it up for our caller.
Amen.
You know what I mean? And absolutely, like, maybe they found the fence that the European Jew was kind of left out of the conversation with this. So you may have a point there of why it was such a quick knee-jerk reaction. Ultimately, what I think Kyrie going through this, Kyrie has opened up a door where we can now have conversations and maybe be critical of the Jewish community as it stands right now without the automatic backlash of anti-Semite. We're finding you and we're going to, re-educate your mind, and then you're going to apologize in front of the world to us, basically. Like, Kyrie was not trying to get Xerxes. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I think basically what this has done is open up an avenue for communication, open, honest, frank communication between our communities as they are right now. I mean, black people get criticized all the time. White people get criticized all the time. It just seems kind of unfair when a group of people are above reproach, are treated as they are above reproach. All right, so that was Kyrie. Let me give you a little bit more of Kyrie right here. There's a little chunk that I took out. Please check it out. Regard me.
A few things. We have to eat well. That doesn't mean just going vegan. We have to eat well. You have to eat well. You have to treat your body right. You have to treat your mind right. You have to know what you're putting in here. You have to let go of things. You know what I'm saying? I'll give you an example. I had to let go of seeing my ancestors buried in places that have been covered up by lakes. I had to go see museums with nooses around my ancestors' necks. I had to go see lawmakers that are still living today that put a lot of my family members in bondage or in prison or oppressed them in some type of way. I had to go see that, and I had to let go of that energy, that hateful energy that I had, in order to move on in this world, to talk openly. Because if I didn't let it go, I would have been walking around as what? The angry black man. The angry black man. I had to, that's always the MO. If you're the angry black man, you can't get anything done. So I had to change up my approach and my perspective. Doesn't mean that I'm not ready for war out here, but it just means that I know who my enemy is and why they're doing what they're doing. And the reason why I express these things to you is because the millennials, we have the answers. We have the answers. It starts with our diet. It starts with our spiritual systems. It starts with breaking free out of this matrix, out of this system where you're not controlled by it. You're not run by it. And everybody calls the matrix, the system, whatever you want to describe it as, right? But we wake up every single day and you're not in control, are you?
That's right. So you're hearing Kyrie. What I like about this is that it's not just that I'm going to point fingers. I'm blaming you. He's standing his ground. He's still being gracious in the fact that he's letting the world know that, hey, I love everybody, and I want everybody to, not just survive but thrive. And then he's given us some of his opinions on what we can do to better ourselves and for us to be better people, and that includes keeping our bodies fit, eating well, and getting out of this trapped mind state. Kyrie definitely goes on in this video to explain the effects of social media, especially on the children, and how he's not going to allow his children to get tied up in the social media traps that we have out here today. And I just find that I never ever got a feeling from Kanye. I never got a feeling from Kyrie at all that he had a hateful bone in his body. No, not at all. Let Trill say. So I think we absolutely, positively, have to come from a positive place when we're talking about these things. And I also like the fact that he said that, hey, I had to get over the fact that, that I'm aware that there are towns that were covered over with water to make lakes for neighboring towns, and the people that were the victims of this are still buried, under the lakes because of racism and a U.S. American racist American policies that he said killed over 300 million Black people in America being buried. He had to get over the fact that blacks were lynched when he goes into museums and he sees this history. And he also explains, and I can't remember the term, anybody out there listening, there's a term out there where it says that basically the hurts, the anguishes, even the successes of your ancestors can still be felt presently through your DNA. I do not know the term, but I'm big on terms and stuff like that. So if you figure that out for me, call in and let me know. And if you're going to call in, you might as well know the number. And the number is 313-825-5557. We're about to get back to the lines, but really quickly, I want to play something for you guys. I do. Let me just figure out what times I want to play. All right, so we're just going to go to here. And if you heard a little piece of that voice and you already know who it is, you hit me in the comments. I don't have merch yet, but if you can tell me who that was by that little snippet, you tell me in the comments who that was by that little snippet, as soon as I get these first talking shit, getting clicked, teas out, coffee mugs out, whatever. You're getting one. You might get two. So, like I said, whoever gets it first, you're getting the merch. Number one, you're going to get it before me. Like, I would keep this t-shirt because obviously this is my show. Oh my God. Bro, you hitting the lights? My dog's hitting the lights. He's hitting the lights. All right, so this is what we're going to show you right now. This is Minister Farrakhan addressing the peoples. Except that's not. Here's Minister Farrakhan. All right, so I got this video from the Collective 9. It's called Minister Farrakhan is addressing the Kanye and Kyrie Irving controversies. But before we start this video, I would like to remind you guys that Mo3 Times, this is a 2-part series. Well, basically it'll end up being a 4-part series, but we're going to discuss Kyrie, and I'm doing Kyrie first because it's very fresh in our minds, and he basically overtook whatever drama that Kanye was bringing in the last couple of weeks. And then we are going to revisit Kanye, and we're going to do a timeline. I'm talking about, like, I'm starting this timeline at the George Bush doesn't like black people. And we're going to go, and then we can have a nice conversation about both Kanye and Kyrie. Hopefully it's more Kanye heavy, just to be fair. But let me show you Mr. Farrakhan's response to both the Ye and Kyrie Irving situation.
I could see my brother. He's not thinking about hating somebody. He's thinking about learning more about himself, because we are tired of being what others have made us. We must become ourselves again. And he was interested in that journey, and I can listen to him, and I can see him, and I can see that's the journey that he's on. He's not trying to hurt the Nets. He's not trying to hurt the brothers that are playing ball with him. But he is trying to be true to himself.
Listen to me. I am not in the Nation of Islam at all, but let me tell you what, Mr. Farrakhan, when the Honorable Minister Farrakhan is speaking, I'm listening. I am listening. Being an older man, I can tell you that Minister Farrakhan himself has transformed himself over the years. As you grow older, you know, maybe some of that fire and that energy that you had in your youth is, you know, dissipated. And I think he had a lot of, first of all, he's always been extremely intelligent. He is a genius. His researching and his interpretation of not just the Quran, because he is a Muslim, but also the Bible and the Torah and other, I've seen him, it's so hard to say because it's an amazing person. And I know that people outside of the Black community do not appreciate Minister Farrakhan. And you want to know why? Because early on, he was labeled as Semitic. Anti-Semitic. He was labeled as anti-Semitic early on. Man, I could tell you a story about Minister Farrakhan. 90s. They called for the Million Man March. My father's going to the Million Man March. I'm in high school. I'm taking a world cultures class, which talks about world history. And while you're doing world history, you're also taking English classes and you're reading books about Western history and cultures and stuff like that. And then we all get together and we just basically celebrate different cultures. I had 2 white teachers. One teacher was Jewish. And when we were talking, we had not really debates in class, but we would talk about current events and everything. And we spoke on the Million Man March. And I was telling her how important it was that Minister Farrakhan was able to bring all of these men together and, you know, talk about issues plaguing communities and coming up with resolutions to just better ourselves. And basically, if anybody remembers the Million Man March, it was basically labeled as a day of atonement. And the media outlets said, no, there's not 1 million people there. I was at President Obama's inauguration in the same exact place where the Million Man March had taken place over a decade earlier. And as I was there with probably at least 2 million people, I could tell you that that Million Man March had well over 1 million Black men marching on Washington, D.C., fellowshipping with one another, networking with one another, and just celebrating a day of peace and knowledge. And my teacher could not understand. She just couldn't understand it. And maybe what Kyrie is saying just doesn't apply to young Black men. It applies to everybody. Like, we really need to open up our eyes and read our books. And I'm not saying that Kyrie is the most, you know, eloquent scholar. I don't see the ADL trying to reach out to Minister Farrakhan if he says something to label him as an anti-Semite. That's not happening in this day and age, not with Minister Farrakhan and not with his knowledge and the way that he can present his knowledge. Kanye might know some things, but him communicating out his mouth is kind of crazy. Kyrie's a little bit better at communicating, but he still has a way to go. And when you're going to talk about touchy subjects, when you're going to break down walls and break down barriers, I honestly think you should have that ability to be able to express yourself in many different ways. But I also have to correct myself on a spot because it seems to me like Kyrie and Kanye together, for that matter, have actually, you know, breached the threshold here and they didn't have the best, communicative skills out there. I have a caller on the line. Let's see. Oh, I got a return caller on the line. Let's take it. Talking shit, getting clicks. Hope you're enjoying the show. Did you hear the comments made by Minister Farrakhan that I just played a while ago? Hello?
No.
No? Not at all.
No.
Ain't nothing.
No.
So, sir, what do you want to talk about?
Ain't nothing.
I gotta return you to queue. Guys, I love this. I love this. I love doing this. I know it's not many of you out there, but we're going to get better. We're going to build this, and it's going to be so awesome because I'm actually enjoying this. And it's crazy right now. I'm enjoying it. Wait until it gets much, much, much better. But before we go there, remember, phone lines are 313-825-5557. I want to give you some subscribes now. Let me bring that all over there. That's right. On YouTube, we are talking shit, getting clicks. Hit us on IG, TSGC, till 3005. That means forever. And that's right. We are currently talking about Kyrie, and the title of this show and the show presenting it is What's It Gonna Be, Kyrie? Because honestly, Kyrie is still sitting out, and I love that basketball. I would like to see some more beautiful Brooklyn Nets playing and getting their stuff together and making a run for the title. But Kyrie is still suspended, and we do not know if he's actually ever going to come back. Man. We have no idea if Kyrie's ever going to go back. And with, just in the thought of my mind, it's like Colin Kaepernick. Colin Kaepernick was about to be in his bag as far as a quarterback with, just still being a physical specimen, but also getting that maturity in the game where he was going to start picking people apart. But check this out. I believe we have a caller in queue, a new caller in queue. So let's do it. Hey, caller. What's up, caller? Talking shit, getting clicks. You're on with Mo 3 times. What's good? Hello?
Hello?
Hey. You're on. Talking shit, getting clicks. Mo 3 times.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine. I can hear you loud and clear.
Yeah.
So who are we speaking with?
Bad. Okay, so I'm calling in about the. This is Peter K, bro.
What's going on? Oh, it's Peter. What's up? Definitely. Nice to talk to you.
I want to talk about the Ye and Kyrie situation.
Sure, let's go for it.
Yeah. So, I mean, I want to know what your position is, though, because you responded to my IG post, and it seemed as though you claimed that you weren't being anti-Semitic by insinuating that Kyrie or Kanye was correct. So I just want to clear that up first and foremost.
That I'm being anti-Semitic by saying Kanye and Kyrie is correct?
Sure.
No, not actually. But hold on for a second. I'm going to pull that post up. All right, so this is my position right now. So as this all went down, when Kanye expressed his beliefs and his tweets, I said Kanye's crazy. Kanye's nuts. I do not think it's coming from a place of hate. I don't think he wants to destroy Jews. I don't think he wants to, throw them in gas, or, put tattoos on them anymore. I think that Kanye is searching for truth, kind of like Kyrie. I think Kyrie expresses it way better than Kanye, but I don't see any hate coming from them. I see either they're finding knowledge in Kyrie's case, or there is knowledge that was given and there's a little lack of knowledge in expressing it in Kanye's case. But ultimately, I remember what I commented to you was that there was a post where basically it was Kanye tweeting, and then the response was, "Hey Kanye, we need to sit down and talk in a loving way where you don't spaz on me or curse me out, or else I'm going to have you committed to a institute. I'm going to have you institutionalized, and then you are going to be zombie land. Basically, you're going to be so much full of drugs, you're going to be like a zombie, and visiting with your kids is going to be an adventure." I'm paraphrasing, but that you would be correct. That's kind of like the gist of the post right there, right?
More or less. And I do want to talk about that specifically too.
Oh, definitely.
So then I have to ask you though. I mean, I hate to evoke the slippery slope idea, but at what point does let me back up for a second, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Because I agree with you. I think Kyrie can be rehabilitated. I don't think Kyrie is like a bad person at heart. I do think he genuinely does mean well in general. I think he's very misguided in that attempt to mean well and speak for the broader Black population or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, I do think he means well. But when it comes to Kanye specifically, the man has, on far too many occasions, demonstrated a blatant lack of concern for other minority issues that don't directly impact Black people.
Mm-hmm.
But more importantly, he's also undermined Black movements towards the end of advancing his own acceptance amongst white capitalists.
Ooh.
And that's the real critique I have for Kanye specifically.
Yeah. When it comes to Kanye, yeah, that's a shaky ship. There's a lot of people who have jumped off the Kanye ship. You remember Kanye, and a lot of people will say, "Hey, we want the old Kanye." He went and said, George Bush doesn't care for Black people. But we're going to do we're definitely going to do a show on Kanye with a timeline. And if you watch that, anybody go back and watch that original video, you can always see he's not speaking from a place where it is a well thought, he's had an outline, he's thought this out and how he wants to present these ideas. It seems like with Kanye, it's like a stream of consciousness going through.
I don't think that matters though. I don't think that matters.
Right. And I'm not defending Kanye because, hey, White Lives Matter
fair,
t-shirts
but when it comes to Kanye, I don't think that matters.
Is not good for me. I don't like White Lives Matter t-shirts. I think he's kind of been iffy ever since he got with Candace Owens. You ask me. He's kind of iffy when he got with Candace Owens.
Oh, yeah. No. I think he's been iffy since he wore that Confederate flag nonsense or whatever. And he was trying to make a statement by wearing the rebel flag, which, if you know your history, isn't the actual rebel flag.
Right.
The flag that he was wearing isn't the flag that Robert E. Lee was wearing. It's the flag that, the actual racists were wearing.
Yeah, it's the iconic,
represent the idea
rebels.
behind the Civil War.
Definitely.
The Robert E. Lee flag is the flag West Virginia flies.
Right. So basically, when we're talking, when I was communicating with you back and forth in the comment section, it wasn't more or less about Kanye being against Black people or Jews or anything. It was the fact that this is a guy who's an artist who makes music, and I don't look to Kanye for his political opinions. I don't look to Kyrie for his political opinions at all either. But I know him as an artist, that I love his music. I like his sneakers, and I think sometimes he can be a marketing monster, and he just does things that are just for, as he said in his first album, no matter what you feel, love me or hate me, at least you feel something about me. And I think that's Kanye in a nutshell. So really, I'm not really taking him serious when it comes to politics, because you really never know what he's up to. You don't know if he's, this is a marketing campaign. I mean, 2 days after he said George Bush doesn't like Black people, he came out with his second album. So,
That's true too. And okay, so I will say this, right? I will say this specifically about Kanye, because I do think the Kyrie, the Irving situation is different than the Kanye situation, because I think Kanye is being far more guided by like mental illness, and that's not to say that like being bipolar induces these ideas in people. It does not. He's a bit of a unique case in the situation in how his like mania is manifesting. Nonetheless, though, Kyrie is specifically different from Kanye because he's expressed these weird, unverifiable conspiracy theories before, like the whole flat Earth stuff. That threw me off when he first was like, "Oh, yo, they're hiding a secret about like the shape of the Earth from us," and I'm like, "Who? Who is hiding the secret?" And if you know anything about conspiracy theories, you know most conspiracy theories always lead back to the Jews.
Right.
Like most of them, they almost always lead back to the Jews. And from then, I was like, that's a bit weird, bro. So when he started saying this stuff recently, that's when I was like, bro, like, I don't know what to think about anymore. Like, you've crossed that that great divide, you know? But
like personally, growing up as a black.
Just to be clear on the Kanye stuff.
Oh yeah, Kanye. To be clear on the Kanye.
Just to be clear on the Kanye stuff, okay?
Right.
Okay, so I understand that a lot of black people have a disconnect when it comes to like Jewish conspiracy theories. I accept that. I understand where that comes from, right? Because like,
please go into this disconnect. Yeah, go into the disconnect for us. Like, can you describe the? You said there's a disconnect when it comes to black people and Jewish conspiracy theories.
Yes, I might explain that right now. Okay, here we go. So, in the exact same way that a white person would reiterate harmful stereotypes about black people that appear positive on their surface, right? So, for example, like a black person would be like, oh, like, a white person would be like, oh, black people are better at basketball. They have bigger dicks. They have like better athletic capacity than white people do, and that's why they outperform us in all of these vital entertainment and sports areas, or whatever, right? Now, in the mind of a white person, I can see that stereotype being perceived as a positive thing, right? Because you're framing a racial group of people in a somewhat positive light. You're basically admitting that they are statistically better at something than your group of people are. Right? And in that way, I can see the ignorance amongst black people generally being like, oh, we've had 400 to 500 years of no real power in this country. And yet we can look at this other minority group who in the past 200 or less years has managed to maintain and gain and maintain a degree of power we couldn't imagine happening. Like as a black person, right, I can understand the idea that, like, the stereotype that we control the world, if that was a real stereotype with any bite to it whatsoever, that would be, like, perceived as, like, oh, we have actual power. We can manipulate. For example, when Kanye said this shit about, can I curse on this program? Sorry. I was like, curse on that.
Go for it. Non-suitable for work.
Go for it?
Yeah, we're in SF.
Okay, yeah.
Go for it.
When Kanye said that crap about the 400 years of slave stuff, right? When he said that stuff.
Why are you still slaves?
For example.
Like, you've been slaves for 400 years. Like, I would not be a slave for 400 years. Why are you a slave for 400 years? What he basically said on TMZ, that episode of TMZ where he was saying.
Yeah, I'll get to the historical and social forces behind why that happened. But just to stay on the surface for it real quick, right? Just stay on the surface. When he did say that, you would have expected some degree of backlash from black people that would monetarily or materially affect Ye, to change his position somewhat in some way. That did not manifest itself.
I can tell you why.
The reason that didn't manifest itself, I'll tell you right now, it's because black people have no institutional power in this country.
Boom.
So when we see that he could talk, yes, really, we do not. Like, we had Obama for like 8 years or so, but that nigga didn't even have any power either.
But
Yeah. Black people don't really have any legitimate institutional power in this country, especially when it comes to entertainment, which is where all this Jewish conspiracism comes from, because it comes from the idea that we lack the power, they have the power. However, the part people don't really pay attention to is the fact that in the early 19th century to 20th century, Jewish people who were breaking into Hollywood in the early ages or whatever were more willing to give black artists during like the blues and the bluegrass era like a voice. Because they recognized they went through the same struggles we did. And they were
I'm not going to say that. That makes sense that you said they would recognize struggles, and I believe for a lot of them they did, but they recognized the black talent. They recognized that normal white America wasn't fucking with them, and that, hey, now we can get into this Hollywood game that really we're ahead of we're ahead of everybody because we have this vision that we know this is going to be great. We know these people are talented. We're going to represent them. And we're going to basically live for these people who are.
I won't go so far as to say that they knew. I wouldn't go so far as to say they knew we were going to be great, but I think they made a gamble that we would be great.
Yeah,
and I think that much is fair.
I would think
they made a gamble.
Louis B. Mayer came in and he was like, "Yo, I have a vision for this," and then his vision started taking off, and people realized that were in his group realized that, hey, his vision is going. Let me start doing this. And yeah, look, if I go to Washington, D.C. right now and I park my car in a parking garage underneath, you know who's going to park? I can tell you right now what type of person is going to park my car underneath the garage in Washington, D.C. It's going to be an Eritrean or Ethiopian man. Because everybody gets into their niches, and that's what it is.
You're describing forces of capitalism, though. That's my issue, right? Like,
yeah, but do you not think that capitalism and race can be intertwined sometimes?
Were only put there because of capitalism.
Yeah, but they
were only put there because of capitalism.
Right, but Jewish people could enjoy capitalism, whereas black people weren't allowed to enjoy the freedom of capitalism. We were the fucking capital. You know what I mean?
That's only partially true, though. That's what I'm saying. Let me finish the thought I was trying to arrive at.
No, but let's go back to that part real quick. Bro, you can have as much time as you want, but let's go back to that point where it's partially true. Like, what would I need to say for it to be 100% true?
Oh, I got you. Okay, for it to be 100% true, then, right? So, like, you know how capital has a tendency toward like self-accumulation, right? And the idea that like profit-seeking behavior tends to lean towards ever greater profits, right? Now, if it were the case that somewhere within Judaism or within like the Jewish ethos, there was this idea, like this inherently embedded idea within Judaism that would have driven these ideas of like future capitalist action, then maybe you might have somewhat of an argument. Even then, I would still have to disagree with you on like a strictly utilitarian position, because the outcome of trying to oust these people from these positions of power would effectively lead to genocide.
I don't think that black people are trying to eject Jewish people from power. I don't think there's really huge issues between the Jewish and the black community.
Well, then what's the argument then?
I think the argument is that you cannot criticize. You can't. The reason,
like the people
what's going on is that you're saying there's no ethos about Jewish people, but what these guys are telling you, Kanye and Kyrie, they're telling you that those people are Jewish by adoption of the culture and the religion. They're really not originally Jewish people, and that's basically where the ADL comes in with their anti-Semitism. However, they have so much proof in academics, using the language, using the culture, using the art that came from these areas, that the ADL and anti-defamation league, they are unable to prove that, to disprove it. So they had to say that, hey, he had a quote from Hitler, which he was, but in a documentary, whether it's good or bad, it's a documentary. That's something that's debatable. And then they said that they denied the Holocaust, which when I watched that documentary, I did not see that. I just didn't see it. So there's an argument there. Kyrie's being an anti-Semite, and it's my belief that the knee-jerk reaction was because they saw a title that said from Hebrew to Negroes, and they were like, oh. these people aren't real Jews.
Okay. Let me explain something. Let me explain a few things real quick. Okay, so there's a common argument that people make, like, why was Amazon the one hosting the documentary in the first place, and to allow Kyrie to then reshare the documentary, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, first of all, Amazon operates far more like YouTube than it does like Netflix. There's no actual process for submitting
videos or videos being reviewed. That's funny because Amazon did report that video had been reviewed before it was put on Amazon. It had been reviewed. That's the report I received.
That's my point. That's literally the point.
Yeah.
That's the point I'm about to arrive at right now.
Mm-hmm.
So if you were on YouTube between 2010 to 2018, which I was, I'm a big YouTube guy. I've been on there for like years or whatever, right?
Right.
You would have seen around 2014 to 2016, there was a giant, very popular crop of Nazis. And when I say Nazis, I don't mean like, like memers or shit posters. No, I mean like these are card-carrying Nazis. Richard Spencer, for example, the guy who staged the 2017 march where they had the tiki torches.
Yeah, Jews will not replace us.
Blood and soil, the Jews will not replace us.
Yep.
Yes, that guy. He had a giant YouTube channel back in 2015. And the main reason why TOS and all of these algorithmic safeholds fail all the time is because it's relatively easy to alter your title name, your description, and your image pin or whatever else to avoid the TOS. And then you eventually might get caught later down the road, you know what I mean? But the issue with what Kyrie did was he took what would have otherwise been like a 10-view documentary, and then he like blasted that into tens of millions of people, many of which are susceptible to these ideas, and turned a otherwise 10-view documentary that would have been taken down on the TOS if they got caught into a hundreds of thousands of view thing that then became a national story.
I get it.
That's the issue.
I get it.
Propagating blatantly dangerous
We can't blame that on
ideas.
Kyrie. We can't blame it on Kyrie. You want to know why? Because when it was addressed, Kyrie was in a post-game interview where the reporters should have been asking questions about sports, not about Kyrie's posting. Because that Kyrie had posted it, and it didn't get big until it became
the next day.
Yeah, why wouldn't he double down? You're calling him an anti-Semite when this man is telling you that, hey, I found some interesting information. I just posted it. Check it out. He didn't say, like, yo, check this shit out, death to Jewish people or anything. He just said, yo, I found some information that was on Amazon. And listen, I think it is to blame Amazon. I think, you know what, the first thing I did was I went on Amazon and I searched Mein Kampf, the book. And
wait.
Huh? Okay.
Wait. If a blonde-haired white guy, blonde-haired, blue-eyed white guy, in 2016 had reposted a Richard Spencer video where Richard Spencer was advocating that black people are invalid as a group of people in general, or whatever. And he didn't say anything about the YouTube video. He just, this blonde-haired white guy with millions of followers just reposted it. They didn't say anything about that at all. You would see no issue with that reposting. You would just think, oh yeah, that's just normal. This guy should just be re-spreading like blatantly. I want to, essentially, in the outcome of my philosophy, I want to genocide or displace millions of black people. Like Listen, that would just be no issue to you.
Listen, there's people saying that right now, and I am well aware of it, that don't have to post it. Like, I'm aware that people want to kill me because of my skin, because my beautiful big lips,
but
that they want to kill me.
Post it. Should they have the ability
I would
to
get
post
that, because if you're posting something that says, I want to see black people deleted, I can understand there. But he posted a title of, I've shown you already, it says he posted the cover. He didn't post the content.
Have you read the book?
He didn't post a clip.
Have you read the book?
I didn't read the book, but I watched the movie.
You read the book.
And I make it totally clear that I have not read the book, And that, yes, and that book may have anti-Semitism in there, but that's a whole nother thing because Kyrie didn't read the book. He's lying his ass off. In a press conference, the guy asked him, first of all, Kyrie said, I'm searching Amazon Prime, which means he was going through the movies. He wasn't going through books. He was going through the movies because you couldn't get that book on Kindle. You could only get it in like paperback or hardcover. You might be able to get it on Kindle now, but at the time, you couldn't get that book on Kindle. So, which means he got it from Amazon Prime. He watched some of the. Well, let me finish answering the question. And he got it on Amazon Prime, and boom, that's what he did. He saw some of the movie. It's a 3-hour-long video. It took me 3 days to watch that 3-hour-long video. So I'm pretty sure he didn't watch all of it. I'm pretty sure he watched little clips and pieces. He found some information. If you've ever watched Hidden Colors and it shows you the African influence around the world and it shows you the arts and the paintings on the walls and everything, it's very interesting. Like nobody knew this. And it seemed like Kyrie was amazed at it and just wanted to share it. I didn't see it as something being anti-Semitic. And then when you go on a post conference, somebody's asking you and you're saying like, bro, I love all walks of life. What the fuck are you doing? Even shooting a follow-up question of anti-Semitism if the dude just told you he loves and respects all walks of life. He's trying to start shit.
Sorry, bro.
I know I'm going crazy.
Sorry.
But yeah, that's just for me.
I remember the rise of Richard Spencer. Okay, I remember this white guy that would dress up in suits and look extremely presentable. There'd be nothing hateful about anything he would present himself as.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, he was still a through and through Nazi. And it took the media about 3 years to catch up to the fact that this guy is a Nazi.
It took the media. It took the media.
The guy running over that lady with the car at the protest. That's what it took to change the media's opinion of this guy.
It took the media to go through Charlottesville because they let these people go down there. It took the media for a white lady to be hit in the middle of Charlottesville, Virginia, for them to actually look at the Boogaloo Boys and the Proud Boys and their leadership and to say that, hey, these guys aren't just doing this, they're doing this.
Because they don't care about black issues.
Yeah, but I can tell you this, and
they don't care about black issues. That's what makes this more scary. That's what makes this so much more dangerous. Because what Kyrie was promoting, and again, I think Kyrie is completely redeemable. I think that man can be redeemed. I do not think Kanye can be redeemed. I think Kanye has bought far too much into the Kool-Aid. He drank too much of the Kool-Aid.
That's cool. I can agree with that point if that's your point you're making, because people have jumped off, and so I can totally understand that. But when me and you first had our interaction, my whole thing was that there would be no way in hell that you could send me a message saying that, hey, you're going to take me and institutionalize me and pump me full of drugs. I think that's fucking insane. He goes on TMZ. That man says, hey, I was taking two. He said, listen, he said he was taking two.
I fully defend.
Right. That's my whole thing. So I think we agree with the Kanye thing. I'm glad we met off of thinking that was a disagreement. I would definitely always want you to call back to the show and we can definitely discuss these things. But stay in the queue. I'll come back to you. I got other callers, but hang out with me. I like that. I like a little spiciness there. I like it. Yo, talking shit, getting clicks. You're on with Mo 3 times. Hello.
All I can say for listening to both of the conversations, and again, when it comes to America, period, I think the problem that we have now, as he was just talking about this guy, and he was a true Nazi. Well, it's how most black people feel in America that we had as an ex-president.
With Donald Trump?
When it comes to the circumstances, well, you call the name.
Well, yeah, we have no cut cards on here. But what you're saying goes back to what Peter was saying.
I'm like Whoopi. I don't have to say his name. Everybody know who we're talking about. But anyway, I say it like this. When it comes to the news, and especially since the past four years, where we see that again, everybody's speaking about how our country is becoming divided. And the strange thing to me when it comes to this anti-Semitic and negative attitude towards Jews, the thing that hit me that lately, when it comes to anything that's anti-Semitic or anything of racism, so-called prejudice, discrimination, it seems like now every time I look at the news, it's not white people, it's not the ones standing speaking of white supremacy, it's black people that's being called out. And it's funny that, again, the system works like this, divide and conquer. And the attitude to me when it comes to black, Jews, any of the, as we say, minorities or people of color, it seems like now, even though with the violence that's been going on, taking place in synagogues, it seems like the situation is flipped over and we're not looking at that, but we're looking at something stupid like Kanye West that we already know that y'all both share, that we know that he's suffering from some mental problem. But I say like this, I was even looking at the Chinese when the flu, COVID flu epidemic came out, and the next thing I know, the hatred for the Chinese, all of a sudden, when the white racists was out there beating up the Chinese people, claiming they was the one that brought the COVID over here. The president called it the Kung Fu disease. But when I look on the news, they start showing black people beating up Chinese people. When I see them blowing up the synagogues and everything else, the next thing I know, they saying black people are anti-Semitic. And even with my people, when it comes to black people, the thing that I had experienced, and this is how I looked at it, going back to the civil rights, we say the Jews marched with us. The Jews had a relationship with us because they experienced the Holocaust, you know? But I look at it like this. I always tell people the two most hated people in America today, more than black people, that I observe, a so-called, such as our president behind doors is called Biden.
Okay.
And I say the second hated people in America over black people is the so-called Jews. So when I look at it, the whole attitude that I see that they're using against us today is divide and conquer. There's the whole fear now, even down to politics, as we see with the migration, the first thing they saying with the Mexicans and other brown people in the earth, they're going to take over the country and they're no longer going to be white people. You know, all this fear and this anger and this attitude that I've seen, that I lived in since I've been living, born in America, to me, I laugh at it. I said, we need to open our eyes, and I hope we don't get to the point, because even when we try to share our attitudes when it comes to Jews, I look at it like this. Like you said, when I look at the documentary, what was unique about it is just like the black man being a nigger. You know, when the Hebrew people become Jews. Jews is stuff that we see today, at least we understand that it was considered a derogatory term anyway. And I always look at Jewish people like this. The reason why white America had more problem with Jews here, carry the attitude from Germany and Hitler, is the fact, it's like I look at my own family through the generations of slavery. We know the history for ourselves as our women being raped, our men being hanged and tortured. And even in my family, I look at it like this: when it comes to complexion, if we're trying to divide us from a complexion of who's black and who's white, I think the most fearful thing about the Jews that I kind of have respect for, even when it came down to the civil rights. And we all have to redeem ourselves. I know the main thing that they bring in history now about Jews and blacks is they was the first one that brought you as slaves over here. They the one that started slavery. All the informations and the false informations that we receive today to have attitudes towards the ones that actually show support and love for us and circumstances. So I say the reason why Jews are getting so bad today, especially when it comes to white America, because they're as being called Jews. The Jews was the first nigger lovers that was Caucasian. They confused them because they look white. Even when they came from Germany over here, the first thing they did was change some of their names so they wouldn't be known as Jews. Yeah. So that's the problem that I see that we have in this day over this whole discussion. And when it comes to us trying to talk about it and find out the truth, I think when it came to that documentary specifically, again, I think the main problem with him bringing out the documentary and speaking on it was the fact that you couldn't deny facts. The things that were shared that I saw in that documentary, I never knew before a gay thought about it. We still question today with Jesus Christ is, why is he a Jew and he hanging on the cross with blonde hair and blue eyes? So this is the thing that black people is dealing with today in this country. And again, the separation and division, not with whites, but it's with, again, we asking why we killing each other. We asking why we in Puerto Ricans and Puerto Ricans can't get along with Mexicans and now we can't get along with Jews. And I find it saddening that the ignorance and the things that they use and against us. I have to agree with Trump with one thing. We have to be aware of the fake news, but I just leave it at that.
That's beautiful you said that, because I think it's beautiful that you said that you ended it with the fake news, because I think no matter what political affiliation you're with or what you believe, we all agree that the news media can be fake and can give out bogus information, especially in these days of you got to outscoop the other person, and it's easy to just write a story in 144 characters and send it over in 15 seconds. You said something about the American white people being enemies of Jews in America. Do you think that, has there ever been a time where you felt or even thought or had knowledge of, American black people and Jewish people actually being at war with each other?
Well, I didn't see Jewish people at war with white people because when they came over here, that's what they tried to do for their own survival, right? With everyone that comes over to this country, even when it comes to Hispanics, when it's a choice, when it comes to America, that we have to understand that, again, when it comes to so-called racism, when it comes to supremacy, when it comes to a choice of which one of my life that I live, I can live a better life. Most people prefer, in their minds, including a lot of blacks, like we see one on the Supreme Court, they want to be Caucasian. That's the life that we look at, that we see is successful, beautiful, and when we look at the positive things when it comes to that, and we based on a color, that's the sadness. Because again, people hate when you go into the Bible, but I always said like this: God never said that He separated the people because of race. He said we were separated because of language. And the purpose that He separated us with language, as you know, the story of building the Tower to Babel to reach stars, which again we're doing to today with the rocket ships. You even got Musk got his own personal rocket ship,
like rocket ships that are kind of shaped like the Tower of Babel. That's a whole nother show of how many times we've been through these advanced societies too.
But the point that I wanted to use on that illustration is that it's funny that the main thing that we've been separated on this planet is because of race, because of color. But the reason that it says spiritually we were separated was by language. And the beauty of language, especially when you go to Africa, because you go to any continent on the earth where there's more languages spoken than any place, it's in Africa. So even with the history of the story behind it, as a brother shared with me, the beauty that we were separated with language was to give us the opportunity to try to recommunicate with each other and become united and together again. But even with that,
we had to throw that on there.
So when you think about it, we don't see it as the separation of a language today, especially in America, because we're the only country that mostly can only speak one language. But any place we go on the planet of the world,
usually more people speak more than one language at least too.
Language have to speak English.
And you know what? That's good.
Just little things to look at.
Yeah, you gave us a lot right there to unpack. Thank you, sir, for your call. Definitely thank you for your call. Like, he gave us a lot to unpack there, because we talk about, the separation of through language. You can look at that religiously. You can look at it academically, and then, wow, you just gave a lot of information. I wish I would have stopped you a little earlier and probed you at different spots. But ultimately, my question would be, where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? All right. I'm going to bring Peter back in. And we'll continue this conversation. Peter King, you here? Maybe we lost him. Maybe we did. All right, guys. So it's going to look like I'm ultimately going to get the last word here. All right. So thanks for all the callers that called in. Peter, thanks for calling in. Appreciated it. So just to wrap up my show, I'm going to get the last word. I have an issue with none of this. I think it's all great information. I ultimately think that it's unfair sometimes when we criticize, the Jewish people, that you can't criticize them at all because you get labeled anti-Semite. I'm sure other groups have issues with other groups as well, but that's one of the things. I also would like to say that Kyrie, he seems like he's out there trying to learn. And when we talk about the craziest things that he's done, when you saw the show previously talking about his controversies, especially talking about flat earth or satanic demon programs and stuff like that, seems like to be a guy who's starved of knowledge. And I think that we all should have that energy of being starved for knowledge, because what a lot of people are realizing is that, and I think, this stuff when it comes to anti-Semitism and comments about the Jews or earth being flat, is that our educational system here in the United States is piss poor. It just is. Our culture for education and learning in regards to our children and even adults is very poor. And also, I think that we've all become victims of what our previous caller said, fake news. We don't know what to believe. There's been so much information bombarding us about certain different things that we don't know what to believe. And then you get information overload. So then we are talking about this Kanye may be a distraction, and it's all right. But you know what? I don't know a good metaphor. I would take it as we'll take this distraction just like slaves took the entrails of the pig and made cuisine out of it. Like, you have to sometimes take the trash from the enemy or your opposition, and you have to take those lemons and make lemonade. So I think there's a learning that there's a lesson that we can all learn through this process. It is, first of all, let's be more responsible with the things that we ingest. Kyrie said it himself, the way that we take care of our bodies, what we take for our souls, as well as what we take for our brains, and just learning, reading books, and opening ourselves up to a different point of views. I love it. I love not a debate, but a discussion. I don't want to be like, oh, I agree with everything. I love to hear different points of views, and I think this was a very great show, just because we had so many different viewpoints on a situation. Whether you think it's a distraction or not, whether you think that it's there's blacks are Jews or Jews aren't really Jews or whatever. I mean, at the end of the day, we are all on a lump of mass floating through space at incredible speeds. We're all we got, people. We're all we got. So we got to figure out why we're here, because it's only going to get worse out there if we don't. So, guys, I am Mo 3 times. That's me. That is me. That's me, Mo 3 times. This is Talking Shit Getting Clicks. Specifically, the Me episodes of Talking Shit Getting Clicks. Appreciate all our callers and our guests. And we'll see you back here next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Let the children sing.